Welcome back. Today we will learn about the explosive possibility of Jeremy Horton's return to Salem and what this could mean for the intricate web of relationships that continues to captivate viewers. The whispers of a villain's return. The rumor mill in Salem is churning with unprecedented intensity as whispers grow louder about Jeremy Horton's potential comeback to the beloved soap opera. This speculation isn't merely fan wishful thinking. It's rooted in carefully placed narrative breadcrumbs that seasoned Days of Our Lives writers have strategically scattered throughout recent episodes. The mention of Jeremy's name during a pivotal conversation between Steve and Kayla Johnson has sent shockwaves through the fanbase, igniting passionate discussions across social media platforms and fan forums. Trevor Donovan's portrayal of Jeremy Horton during his 2007 stint left an indelible mark on the show's history, creating a character so complex and controversial that his absence has been felt for over a decade. The timing of these recent references coincides perfectly with the show's current trajectory of revisiting past storylines and bringing back fan-favorite characters, suggesting that the writers may be laying the groundwork for something monumental. Unraveling Jeremy Horton's dark legacy. Jeremy Horton's genealogy runs deep within Salem's most prominent families, making him a character with inherently rich storytelling potential. As the offspring of Mike Horton and Robin Jacobs, Jeremy carries the weight of the prestigious Horton name while simultaneously representing its darkest chapter. His lineage connects him to some of Salem's most beloved characters, creating natural conflict and drama that writers can exploit for maximum emotional impact. The character's initial introduction as an innocent child in the late 1980s created a stark contrast to his later transformation into one of Salem's most despised villains. This evolution from childhood innocence to adult corruption represents a masterclass in character development that could be further explored in a potential return storyline. The psychological implications of his troubled past, combined with his family connections, provide writers with a goldmine of material to craft compelling narratives. Jeremy's criminal background extends far beyond simple misdemeanors, encompassing a pattern of deception and manipulation that made him particularly dangerous to those who trusted him. His ability to charm and deceive while harboring sinister intentions made him a formidable antagonist whose return could shake Salem to its very foundations. The Stephanie Johnson connection. A wound that never healed. Stephanie Johnson's current anxiety about her upcoming book publication has revealed layers of trauma that extend far beyond professional concerns. While she initially attributed her nervousness to the sensitive nature of her PR work and the book's content, the deeper truth reveals a woman still haunted by her past relationship with Jeremy Horton. This psychological scarring has manifested in ways that even she doesn't fully understand, creating a compelling character study of survival and resilience. The book Stephanie has written contains intimate details about her past relationships, creating a vulnerability that terrifies her on multiple levels. Her insistence on using pseudonyms isn't merely about protecting her professional reputation. It's about shielding herself from potential retaliation or contact from those who hurt her most deeply. The specific section she desperately wanted to delete but couldn't likely contains the most traumatic details of her relationship with Jeremy, creating a paper trail that could potentially lead him back to her. Alex Kyriakis and Titan's promise to maintain anonymity through pseudonyms provides only surface-level protection, and Stephanie's continued anxiety suggests she understands the inherent risks. Her fear that someone might identify her as the author despite these precautions reveals the depth of her trauma and the very real possibility that Jeremy could discover her location and current circumstances. The therapeutic aspect of writing about traumatic experiences often helps survivors process their pain, but it also requires them to relive those moments in vivid detail. Stephanie's journey as an author represents both her healing process and her potential revictimization, creating a narrative tension that keeps viewers invested in her story. Steve Johnson's protective instincts and revealing discoveries. Steve Johnson's investigative skills have uncovered disturbing patterns in his daughter's romantic history, leading him to draw uncomfortable parallels between Alex Kyriakis and Jeremy Horton. His discovery of Alex's previous arrest records has triggered paternal alarm bells, reminding him of the warning signs he missed during Stephanie's relationship with Jeremy. This revelation has transformed Steve from a supportive father into a protective guardian determined to prevent history from repeating itself. The specific mention of Jeremy's name during Steve's conversation with Kayla wasn't accidental. It represents a father's worst nightmare coming full circle. Steve's experience as both a father and someone who understands the criminal mind has given him unique insight into recognizing dangerous patterns in behavior. His concern about Stephanie's attraction to bad boys reflects his understanding that trauma survivors sometimes unconsciously gravitate toward familiar relationship dynamics, even when those dynamics are harmful. Kayla's dismissive attitude toward Steve's concerns about Alex creates additional tension within the Johnson family unit. Her inability or unwillingness to acknowledge the potential danger suggests either denial about the severity of Stephanie's past trauma or confidence in her daughter's ability to make better choices. This disagreement between the parents adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. Steve's methodical approach to investigating Alex's background demonstrates his commitment to protecting his daughter, even if it means overstepping boundaries. His willingness to dig into Alex's past reveals both his love for Stephanie and his determination to never again allow someone to hurt her the way Jeremy did. The psychology of abusive relationships and lasting impact. Jeremy's abuse of Stephanie created psychological wounds that continue to influence her behavior and decision-making processes years later. The pattern of lying, manipulation, and physical harm that characterized their relationship established trauma responses that manifest in unexpected ways throughout her current life. Understanding these psychological implications helps explain why a simple book publication could trigger such intense anxiety and fear. Abusive relationships often create lasting changes in brain chemistry and stress response systems, making survivors hypervigilant about potential threats while simultaneously drawn to familiar relationship patterns. Stephanie's current nervousness about her book might seem disproportionate to outsiders, but for someone who experienced Jeremy's particular brand of manipulation and violence, any situation that makes her vulnerable feels inherently dangerous. The cyclical nature of abuse means that Jeremy's departure from Salem in 2007 with promises of self-improvement doesn't guarantee genuine change. Abusers often use periods of separation to refine their manipulation tactics or find new victims, making their eventual return even more dangerous than their initial presence. Strategic storytelling and character reintroduction. Days of Our Lives writers have mastered the art of strategic character reintroduction, using subtle references and emotional triggers to prepare audiences for major returns. The recent mention of Jeremy's name serves multiple narrative purposes. It reminds viewers of his significance, establishes current character motivations, and creates anticipation for potential future storylines. The timing of these references coincides with Stephanie's vulnerable moment as a soon-to-be published author, creating the perfect storm for Jeremy's return. His discovery of her book could provide the motivation he needs to return to Salem, armed with intimate knowledge of her thoughts and feelings about their past relationship. The show's current focus on family dynamics and past traumas makes Jeremy's return particularly relevant and timely. His connections to both the Horton and Johnson families ensured that his presence would create ripple effects throughout Salem's interconnected community, providing writers with multiple storyline opportunities. The potential for redemption or continued destruction. Jeremy's 2007 departure included promises of personal growth and becoming a better person, but the intervening years remain largely mysterious. This gap in his story provides writers with enormous creative freedom to explore what kind of man he has become during his absence. Has he genuinely changed, or has he simply become more sophisticated in his methods of manipulation and control? The possibility of a reformed Jeremy returning to make amends creates intriguing dramatic possibilities, but it also risks minimizing the severity of his past actions. Redemption arcs for abusive characters require careful handling to avoid sending harmful messages to viewers who may have experienced similar trauma. Alternatively, Jeremy's return as an even more dangerous version of his former self could provide compelling antagonist storylines while validating Stephanie's fears and Steve's protective instincts. This approach would honor the reality that some people don't change and that past behavior often predicts future actions. Conclusion. Salem braces for impact. The convergence of Stephanie's book publication, Steve's investigative discoveries, and the strategic mention of Jeremy's name suggests that Salem may soon face the return of one of its most memorable villains. Whether Jeremy Horton appears as a changed man seeking forgiveness or as a more dangerous predator drawn back by the scent of vulnerability remains to be seen. What seems certain is that his potential return would create seismic shifts throughout Salem's social landscape, testing relationships, reopening old wounds, and forcing characters to confront the lasting impact of past trauma. For fans of Days of Our Lives, the possibility of Jeremy Horton's return represents both an exciting narrative development and a chance to explore deeper themes of survival, healing, and justice. The question isn't whether Jeremy will return. It's whether Salem is prepared for the chaos that will inevitably follow in his wake.